Hey guys, welcome back to a tutorial, another tutorial in fact. This one's for firebending from Embergen and compositing in Fusion or Resolve or whatever. So here we have dude just doing awesome karate moves, freaking amazing. Let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is import our footage. It needs to be a PNG sequence. I believe JPEG will work as well. We got to put that on the back plate. Make sure your back plate is 60 FPS or at least whatever your time step is in the simulation. Make sure you have the back plate animated. And here, I'm just going to align the camera kind of roughly to the ground of where he's standing. Just, you know, simple alignment, nothing too big. I'm then going to increase, well, I'll change this to sphere first. And I'll move this over, and actually I'll visualize the sphere as well, show the emitter for us to see what we're even doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to animate this sphere to kind of follow his hands in a way, and I'll shrink it down a bit, and I'll keyframe the position, double tap, there we go, double tap the timeline, and I will line up the sphere roughly to his hands or whatever, and we'll just speed this along. So we're just gonna keyframe this about each frame or every 2 frames maybe, and we'll just keyframe this to generally match his hands. And so here we have our particles and pyro. So we just added a force line. Okay, so we're going to keyframe the emission rate to match up with when he punches. So we want when he punches, it will emit particles and volume, and when he puts his hand back, it won't emit particles or volume. And so as you can see, we have a punch, just like that. Alright, so I'll see what it looks like in the viewport, and I'll adjust the force line as well. So we have 20 push for the particles to actually get pushed. Now you can decrease that push so you get more voluminous type of looking particles, volume stuff. I don't know another word for volume, but you can see it looks more like an explosion midair. You know, if you wanted that sort of thing, you know, it just depends on the speed factor. I'll try 50. Oh yeah, 50. Oh yeah. 50 is quite a bit. Alright, I'm gonna set this back to like 20, maybe 10. Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. So, I kind of want it to be... Well, let me increase the pressure. Yeah, that's cool. How about decrease? I guess it's going to pull... Yeah, it's going to pull it down. Yeah, so that's a cool way. If you wanted like a guy punching the ground or kicking the ground or whatever you want, yeah. Look, he's punching the concrete. That's cool. That actually looks pretty cool. I like the way it flows. But you could go crazy with this. The whole point is just to demonstrate... Play with it. I mean, that's all you gotta do, is just play with it. So I'm just gonna animate this, and I'll mess with the repel. And you see, that's what I'm doing. I'm just playing around with it. I'm just seeing, you know, what does it do? And it is firebending after all, so firebending isn't always like punching and all. That looks pretty cool. I kind of like that. So now what we have is, we'll go ahead and adjust the shading. So I think I want it to be blue. Just to, you know, change it up. So I'll change the particle colors. And you can adjust the emissive boost if you want as well, but yeah, I kind of like the way that looks. Alright, time to render. Alright, so we want mainly 2 passes. The emissive scattering pass and the smoke pass. You can do render all, but I like to be able to separate the fire from the smoke so that I can work specifically on the fire without changing the smoke. In this case, however, there ain't much smoke to begin with.
Alright, so, real quick, just, if your simulation is, you know, maybe it's skipping. You know, maybe the particles or the sphere emission or whatever, maybe it's skipping around. You might have to increase your time step. Alright? When you have a skipping type of thing, you might need to increase your time step.
Alright, so I'll go to the render viewport, and I'll go... I'll set this to smoke. No, I'll set this to smoke. There we go. And then this to emission. Just because the smoke is the only thing that needs an alpha. The emission doesn't need an alpha. I'll change flipbook to sequence. So I'm not able to tell how many frames I need. So you actually need to bring back the backplate. Backplate usually lags Ember, so that's why I turn it off. So you can see now I have the camera that I can actually get the amount of frames that I need. And I think 252 will be fine. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. That way we have our number of frames. And then I'll change this to EXR, multi-layer. You can do PNG, but I just prefer EXR. Save your file, name it whatever you want. And am I missing anything else? I'm going to turn it off just so we can reduce as much lag as possible. And I will go to the simulation node, and I'm going to actually upscale it by x2. My card can handle about 200 million voxels or less. 200 million is kind of pushing it, so I'm just going to deal with that. And, well, it didn't crash, so let's go ahead and export. Alright, you're in Resolve. You're almost there. We are so close.
Oh,
so,
thank the Lord.
We got our little window. You're going to import your media. So I have this on a loader. Where's the media thing? Let me just look it up. So shift space, and I'll put media in. This is one way to do it. This is like the default way. You go to your channels. So you would have your imported media. Then you'd go to your channels tab, and then you would put in the recommended channels, red, green, blue, and then you'd put in the alpha for the smoke. But in this case, I'm going to use a loader. But this comes with Reactor, and it has Split EXR Ultra. It's this plugin thing. Just look up Reactor Resolve. You'll love it. This has saved my life. It's so awesome. Located in the I/O tab, we're going to hit the EXR. I'm just going to leave this at default, basically. And then you can see we have emissive scattering and smoke. And that's it. Right off the bat, our passes are right there. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, I have it set up. We have our emission connected to an X-Glow, which also, by the way, comes with Reactor. Highly recommend it. The best glow I've ever seen. So you got X-Glow with your emission. So I have a channel boolean, and the operation is set to OR. Now the background is also set to alpha background. Yellow is background, green is foreground. We don't have an alpha channel for our fire. If you remember, we didn't render it out because we don't need it. It's going to overlay on top of the smoke anyway. So instead, we use alpha background, which is our smoke, to then have the fire on top and the smoke in the back. So, our dude's looking good. He's a firebender with blue flames. So I want some glow on the ground. Well, how do I do that? Pretty simple. And I'm going to go scrub the timeline until I see... Yeah, there I can see more of the floor. I'm just going to mask it out. Just make a little shape. Then I'm going to go to the Tracker tab and click these two arrows here, which will track it forward, but also track it backwards. And even though his feet are in the way, even though the screen is all glowy and stuff, though I don't think the tracker's picking that up, it still works like a charm, honestly. It's really good for tracking. Now, I don't know which one I should do. I think I'll do temperature. There we go. Yeah. Temperature's always good, just all the way, and give it some gain, and, well, that's kind of it. Pretty cool. Not much else to it. Just a really simple way, and it's tracked on. I'm going to duplicate my original plate, and organization is important. So I'll call this ground glow. There we go. And I'll rename this to plate, just our regular plate. I'll name this to pyro. And I actually duplicated the pyro just for second emission. You don't have to do that. I just wanted to see what it looked like, so I'll just include it. You can see the glow on the ground is pretty darn perfectly tracked. Looks really good. So I'm just going to keyframe the opacity of the glow. And it's not working. Why? Because our original plate has the glow as well. So I'm going to refresh all the things. Now you can just reset the node. You don't have to hit every refresh button, but I'm going to just because why not. There we go. So now we have a way to turn the glow on and off. So obviously when the fire is emitting, there's glow. When the fire is dying, there's less glow. And when there's no fire, there's no glow. And that's it. That's the tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. Appreciate all of y'all stopping by. Have a good one. Bye-bye.